Now we are recording this. All right, so in this session, we're going to look at games in the classroom, and we're going to start out talking about basically any benefits or challenges. So why would we use them, or perhaps why would we avoid using them? We'll look briefly at some types of games, and then we're going to focus on a certain type of game that some of you may be familiar with, but I don't know that all of you are. If anyone here is an Access teacher, they may be familiar with the games I'm going to talk about. And then we'll look at how to incorporate these games into a lesson. Oh, and I have to share something else with you after. All right, so what is a game? This might seem like a weird question. I think most people know what a game is, but we're going to come up with kind of our own definition. So I was hoping in the chat box that you can kind of brainstorm whatever adjectives or other words come to mind when you think of games. So what adjectives, or if you have some nouns, you can put those in too. So in the chat box, what adjectives or other words come to mind when you think of games?
Okay. How to say? Tulus manera boxer.
That's a good one. That's a good start. That's probably one of the best words that goes with game. Fun. I hope so. Celestine is on the same wavelength. Something fun to do. Sport. Very good. Yes. An element of sport in games. Very good. What other adjectives or other words can we think of that come to mind when we think of games? Entertaining games. Good. So entertaining and fun. Playing. Yes. Amusing. Very good. So far, we have all positive things, positive associations. As I think is normal. I think most people like playing games. My husband doesn't like playing games, but all right, so we have fun, something fun to do, sport, entertaining games, playing amusing thing. Oh, stress reliever like Scrabble. Margot, I also love Scrabble. I'm a very big fan of Scrabble. And it is a stress reliever, although it also sometimes can be stressful if you're playing with someone and you're losing. Good. So I see a lot of positive words coming out of this, which is what I'm looking for. Amusement. Very good, Benedict. Good. So we have a positive association. And just as we do, I think our students tend to have a positive association with games. If you have a lesson and you tell your students we're going to be playing some games today, they are going to be happy. And if you play a lot of games, you may have students asking you, teacher, can we play a game today? Even if maybe it's not the right day or time for that. Oh, and you put your answers in the chat. Good job. All right. So some other words we can think of when we're talking about games, and Seth picked the first one I had as well, fun. And a lot of you had synonyms of fun. So amusing, entertainment, stress relieving, all of that. So games are very fun. And that is a great thing for our classes and our students. Because when we are having fun, this helps support incidental learning. Incidental learning is the kind of learning that happens when we're not trying to learn something. So for example, maybe you watch a really interesting movie or you read a really interesting book and you're not trying to learn anything, you're just enjoying yourself, you're just being entertained. And then after you are, add members, they are not able to join to the WhatsApp group, Margot. Here, I cannot add them here. I can share the link in WhatsApp. Oh, hang on, let's come back to this. For them to join, okay. Where should I share it? I can share the link, I can't add them directly. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's really strange. Okay. One moment. The site can't be reached. Ah, okay. Sorry, I'm going to stop sharing this and share the link to our session so that everybody can be on board with this. That's really weird. I assume everybody used the same link. Margot, thank you for stopping me and calling that to my attention. All right, let's see what happens. Ah, Odila, did you just come in from being locked out?
No, actually, I just clicked one of the links that somebody sent recently.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that worked. Okay, good to hear. All right, let's just give it a minute. I think others will be joining us. Oh, Celestine, I wish I had a lollipop or sucker. Oh, Josiah, I see you have your hand up. Do you have something to share with us?
Yes, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I was
Hi.
also locked out for some time. Yes, I was trying to get in, but I was locked out for around 7 minutes. I think today there was a problem.
Gotcha. Yeah, there seems to have been some
I'm
kind
in.
of
Thank
issue.
you.
But you're in now. Okay.
Yes. Yes, I'm in now. I'm grateful.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Hopefully that will resolve things. It may have been because I got kicked out of the meeting earlier. Margot, I'm going to make you a co-host just in case I get dropped. I don't have the WhatsApp invite link, unfortunately. Only Austin has that. Feo, are you in a different WhatsApp group? Jean, go ahead. Thanks.
Sorry, no problem. I think I wanted you to make me a co-host, but it's okay. I think
Oh.
Margot is okay. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can also make you a co-host just in case. Okay. Now you are co-hosts. Okay, Feo. Another LPAC member will help you, or Austin will probably join us in a little bit and he'll share the link. Oh, Austin, you are here. I would have made you the co-host. I didn't see you. Okay. I think people are arriving back in. Sorry that we had these issues. I'm going to just back up. So we just had a quick brainstorm about what a game is, and people brainstormed adjectives. Most of them were positive adjectives. You can see them in the chat. Words like fun, entertaining, amusing, things like that. So fun was also the first word that came to my mind. And as I was saying, fun is really important in the classroom because it leads to incidental learning. And I was giving this example here. If you read a book or watch a movie and you are just really enjoying it, you read the book quickly because you love it so much, or you're watching it and you can hardly even blink, you're enjoying yourself so much. And then after, you realize that you actually learned a lot as well. So maybe you were watching a movie about Japanese samurais. And so after, you realize, oh, actually, I know a lot about samurais, blah, 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 blah. This is incidental learning. So when students are having fun and not thinking about learning, it's actually a really powerful way to learn. Something else that is a big and necessary part of games is competition. So games are competitive, and this can be very motivating. If you ask students to brainstorm some words, some of them might brainstorm actively just because they're good students. Some will write down 3 words. If you tell students it's a race and that whoever brainstorms the most words, you suddenly have almost every student in the class thinking very hard, writing very quickly, trying to come up with ideas. So competition can be a great motivator in the classroom. It has another side too. We can have some issues related to competition. But if we keep the competition light, it can be very motivating for students. And the other part of games is that they have rules. So games are structured. And so because of this structure, it's suitable for the classroom. It's something that's organized. And it also, one of the rules of a game is that everyone gets to take a turn. And so if everyone gets to take a turn, then everyone gets to participate. And so these are some aspects of using games that are directly beneficial to what we do in the classroom. Additionally, games can be great for fostering collaboration or working together. So if we have games in which people are on the same team, even though they are competing against another team, they're going to work closely and collaborate with their teammates. And so this is also very useful and helpful. And when we have everyone taking a turn, everyone collaborating, well, then we get communication, which is ultimately our goal in the classroom, is to have students communicating. Does anybody else have any other benefits that they can think of related to games and playing games in the classroom? Actually, I'm not sure what your experience is, if many of you do use games in the classroom. Hopefully you've had a positive experience with them. You can feel free to raise your hand, or you can answer in the chat if you have any relevant experience with games in the classroom. It makes teaching and learning lively. Yes, very good. When we have a game in the classroom, we don't have bored students, and we don't have a bored teacher either. Very good. It does make the teaching and the learning lively. Yes, very good. It is great for supporting memorization. Because they are having fun, students are more likely to remember what was taught. And also we have the element of motivation as well. Students have a reason to remember things because it will come in handy when playing games. Right? So if for example, I say, okay, so memorize the 15 vocabulary words we studied today. Tomorrow we're going to play a game with these words. As well, students are going to be more likely to remember. Engages all learning levels. Yes, if we do the game right and we structure it right, as Odila says, we can engage all levels. Very good. Excellent. Good. Games can be a stress reliever to students and make their minds free for learning. We talked about the affective filter a couple weeks ago. It lowers the affective filter. It makes learning much easier. Very good. It works for students who are stressed. Very good. Cognitive ability is developed. Great point, Seth. Playing games, actually, studies have shown that older people who play games and do puzzles and things like this, they're more likely to keep kind of a young brain. And so we see that direct connection between game playing and cognition. Very good. Certain types of games also promote critical thinking, which is definitely cognitive ability. Great examples. All right, so we know though that there are two sides to everything. And although there are many, many, many benefits to playing games, and I wholly support it, there aren't only benefits to playing games. So what are some challenges or issues that we may come across when we have games in the classroom? Again, you can use the chat or you can raise your hand to speak. Okay, so if we're not careful, we can have unstructured engagement. It can be kind of messy. Very good. Amali Joe says, some students may be bored in class and lose focus. Yes. If it's not a very good game, or it's a game that is either too easy or too hard, we can definitely lose our students. This is a good point, Anne. The point can be missed when students take it wholly as a fun time. Yes, and they lose sight of the structure. In fact, maybe they're not even doing the thing that is the target language anymore. They're just trying to win. That's true, Teresa. One might have limited resources and ideas. Yes. I have a solution hopefully for you today. We'll be looking at a resource and hopefully developing some ideas to go with the resource. Excellent. Yeah, nice job pointing out some of these issues. Games should be engaging and fun, but they aren't always. Students can become bored. They can miss the point of it and just be playing the game just for the focus of, or just for the sake of the game. We may waste time, right? If we're not connecting this to learning, time can be wasted. And so that can be an issue. All right, so when we play games, we have to be very intentional. Because there are common issues. Classes can be noisy, they can become unruly. You may have the director of your class open the door and say, what is going on in here? This is not a classroom, this looks crazy. We should match the level, otherwise apathy can develop. Absolutely, Odila. So I think this speaks to what Odila just said too. We need to have a clear purpose and objective for the game. If we have a clear purpose and objective, when the principal or the director opens the door and says, what is going on in here? We can say, oh, well, we are learning how to use reported speech or whatever the game is. If the parents say, my son or daughter says, all you ever do in your classroom is play games. Yes, we do, because we are practicing our pronunciation. So it's also important that we communicate these purposes and objectives to our learners as well, so that they know why they're playing the game and don't lose sight of the focus. We need to be very clear with our instructions so that students know that they have to do things a certain way, and that also makes sure everybody gets a chance to participate. We need to closely monitor to make sure that everybody is participating and participating correctly. And then we may also need to adapt if we find things that are either too easy, too hard, or some other issue. Yeah, overexcitement. Yes, they get too excited. I do a lot of board races. I've had students pushing each other, knocking over things, becoming too excited. And yes, that would lead to a waste of time. Yeah, I think that's why it's very important to have a clear purpose and objective to the game. Games aren't something that we do just to fill time. They're done very intentionally or used very intentionally. And with a clear plan of how we're going to use them. All right, so we have many different kinds of games, and these are not all of the games, but they're some, I think, pretty commonly used ones. So something that I use a lot of are board and wall races. So an example of a board or wall race would be, actually, let's see if we can do this. Well, I'll save it for later. So let's imagine that we're practicing past participles. I split the class into two teams. A member of each team has to go up to the board, and I say a base verb, for example, go, and students have to quickly write the past participle and spell it correctly. Or maybe we studied, we're reviewing a bunch of vocabulary words. So I put the vocabulary words on the board, and then I give a definition, and students have to run up and slap the correct word, something like that. Those would be all examples. Oh, word puzzle games. Good. Oh, Carol, we're glad you're here. No worries. So these kinds of games are great for memorization. I mentioned past participles, vocabulary, things like that. They're great for grammar as well. So maybe identifying a mistake, something like that. Spelling kinds of board races, things like that. They're very fun. They make excellent warm-ups as well. They engage the class. They are kinesthetic, get them moving. They're competitive, and so they give students a reason to study and to use their skills. Trivia games are also, I think, very popular. They're great for review. So maybe you are teaching a literature class, and so maybe you have some trivia about characters and stories or different plot elements, things like that. Maybe you're teaching some other kind of class. Maybe again, it's literature, but you want to quiz terms like I saw in the poetry discussion. So you want to talk about alliteration and metaphors, things like that. Great for reviewing vocabulary, questions like that. Those can be a lot of fun. Those can be done with the teacher just asking questions. If you have the technology available, you can also use things like Kahoot. And then bingo and tic-tac-toe are very popular, especially for lower level learners. They're great for phonetics. So students having to listen and then identify the word that they hear, and playing games like that. So those are really popular games. Seth has also mentioned word puzzle games. Those are great, helping students to do different things like a lot of times they involve spelling, like in a crossword puzzle or Scrabble. Remembering maybe definitions if you have something like that, word search. Any other games that you have commonly used in the classroom? Quizzes.
Excuse me,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to ask if this board, the wall races is the same as the other one you use the slap using the slappers.
Yeah, any kind of one of those slapping games. Yes. Yeah, that would be a board or wall race.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, they're called different things.
Yeah, I would have another one called the Last Man Standing.
Oh,
Last Man Standing, I use it especially if we have to review for example, one parts of speech
Oh,
that personally, like it would be more engaging. This might take like time, but it's like a more competitive, but also or more critical because quick learners will be able to think critically or even remembering, even supporting memory, memorization.
mhm.
So yeah, this is how we pray you call the students to stand up on maybe a circle or whatever or a queue, then they will be able to introduce any kind of categorized part of speech you want to focus on, and then you'll be able to give more examples. So you set a timer, probably seconds for a person to respond. Then it goes one by one on the circle, and then until all tries. If one fails, of course, you leave the game, and then until you have the last one, the last man standing.
Yeah,
That's how we call it.
I've seen that game. That is a lot of fun. And then you have a clear winner.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that one. Thank you for reminding me.
Mm.
I see in the chat some other ones like a quiz, like a quiz as a game. Hangman, it's not one of these, and but yes, Hangman is a very popular one, great for eliciting vocab, remembering spelling. I see a lot of Kahoot fans here. Oh, and Mentimeter, very good. Oh, Pictionary, I love Pictionary. Very good. Teresa also likes quiz or Kahoot games. Amali Jo, go ahead. You have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if it could be appropriate if, for example, you can come up with a topic, but instead of you coming up with a game by yourself, you come up with a topic in class and then you ask for the students to come up with a game of their own choice so that they can own it. You know, by so doing, I think learning will be more learner-centered so that the games come from the students. What do you think about that?
I love that. I think that's a great example of like a project or task that would be suitable for students. Yeah, where you have, it will be great for review too. These are the topics we studied, work with your group and create a game, and then we'll try out these games. That's awesome. Have you tried that?
Yes, of course, I do that in class.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. And you probably get some good ideas from your students. Awesome.
Yes, in fact, some of which I even never imagined.
That's great. That's a good example. Caroline, go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. So I also have a question regarding the games that can be played. Can we categorize energizers as games that we can play so that for alertness, students can be alert in class as well?
I'm glad you mentioned that because it was something that I wanted to include in this presentation, and then I got focused and later last night in bed, I thought, oh, I never put anything about energizers. And I said, oh, it will be fine. But so thank you for mentioning. Yeah, energizers might not even be connected to language. They just might be something really quick to kind of give students a little break from sitting or from focusing so much on English. Thank you for mentioning that. They have an important role in the classroom. And Anne has mentioned Hot Seat. Hot Seat is also one of my favorites. Great for review, great for warm up. Excellent. So these games that we've mentioned, they are fun and they are motivating. They get students to be really enjoying themselves, to be participating, to be active, to be engaged. And as mentioned earlier, most of these are great for supporting memorization, incentivizing memorization. And also studies show that when you have a positive experience for something, you're more likely to remember it. So in all these ways, these are great things. I will say, however, the examples that I have given, not necessarily all of the examples you've given, but the ones that I have given are very fun. They're very motivating, but there's not a lot of room for collaboration or communication in the games that I have mentioned. The games that I have mentioned are all very teacher-centered games. For example, in a board or wall race, the teacher has pre-selected the vocabulary or the target language. And then because it's a race, there isn't usually very much time for teams to collaborate. It's usually more of an individual, even though they're working on a team. With trivia, if we're doing team trivia, it's still very teacher-led, but we may have more room for collaboration. Students are working in teams. Maybe they have a minute to discuss the answer. So in that way, there's more communication or collaboration. With bingo and tic-tac-toe, it's really the teacher talking and the students listening or doing, not a lot of communication there. Some of the examples that you have mentioned, Kahoot can have communication if we play it in team mode, but there isn't a lot of room. Hangman, again, even if we let students lead Hangman, there's not a lot of communication. Mentimeter, I think, is similar to Kahoot, although you can give longer answers. Pictionary, again, limited. We might have a little more collaboration if we're doing it as a team. And then a hot seat usually has the class communicating with one student. And so we have a little bit more communication, a little bit more collaboration, but not a lot. And so that is not to say anything bad about these games, but they're a bit limited in what they can do. Most of these are great for warm-ups or great for review, or maybe used as a brain break or energizer, something like that. But they're not really something that we can build our class or our lesson around. We also have board games. Board games are games that involve having a board. They usually involve a dice or die, which is one dice. Usually we have some sort of a place marker, and these are game boards. Earlier, Scrabble was mentioned. Scrabble is a board game. It actually doesn't use dice or place markers. It has other things, but that would be one example. Or probably many of you have played Monopoly. Probably not in the classroom, but if you've ever played Monopoly, that's a great example of a board game. And there are board games out there specifically designed for students in different areas. And we have a really nice resource from the American English website that is a bunch of board games. Lorian, I know you're part of Access, so maybe you're familiar with these games. I'm not sure if everyone is. There's a whole series of games called Activate. Oh yes, Snake and Ladder for dice. Yes, that's a great example, Margot, of a board game. So this is a board game. They are downloadable. They're available free through the American English website. And I think there are 12 or 13 different games available through them. If you go to the website, you can just print them. And then I printed mine in color. If you can't print in color, you can do it black and white. And then I was able to laminate them, but it's not necessary. If you know someone at the embassy, they will give you for free the whole pack, which they're really big ones like this. So if you ever are doing something with them, you can ask them if they have any. But they are a lot of fun. So this is just one example. This one is called Which One Would Be Better? Which one would the world be better without? Why? And I need a volunteer. If you'd like to volunteer, you can raise your hand. And you can do your volunteering either through the chat or you can speak aloud. But raise your hand if you would like to volunteer. Caroline. Okay, Caroline, I have a dice here and I'm going to roll it. Got it. I don't know if you can see, it's a 3. So I'm going to use my annotation device here, which always causes me problems. Caroline, do you want to be an arrow, a check, an X, a star, or a heart?
That's hard. Okay, I would like to be a star.
A star, okay. And so 1, 2, 3, if I count 1, 2, 3, okay, that puts you here. All right. So Caroline, which would the world be better without? The internet, banks, or romantic films?
Romantic films.
Ah, why?
Because that's something that it can come naturally for a human being or animals. But the internet, we need technology. For banks, we need money. Where are we going to save our money?
Okay. Okay, that's good reasoning. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna roll. I got a 5. Oops. And I will be I'll be the arrow. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, what would the world be better without? Hip hop, volcanoes, or police? Well, volcanoes, because they cause problems and danger, but also without volcanoes, I mean, if we had no volcanoes, we would have no land, but I guess we don't need any new volcanoes. So hip hop is very enjoyable. Police can be a problem, but they're necessary. So I guess my answer is volcanoes. All right, so as we continued, Caroline would roll again. And for example, I rolled a 6 for her. And so she would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and she would answer this question next. And we would continue until one of us, oops, until one of us reached the end. There are a couple bad spaces here. For example, here it says bad luck, go back 3 spaces. So if you land here, you would have to go back. But whoever gets to the finish line is the winner. But of course, it doesn't really matter who wins. What really the point of the game is to hear each other's ideas. All right, so to experience this for yourself, I think that we need to all play this game. So I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. If you don't have dice, that's fine. You probably are not sitting at home with dice. You can just pick numbers and move. You can use the annotation device, or you can just remember which question, or you are all adults. If you want to just take turns answering questions, you can. Because really the point here is interaction and communication. So I'm going to go ahead and put you into breakout rooms, and we'll have about, I'll give you about 4 minutes to play the game so that you can experience it and see what you think. Okay, I have it so there are 4 participants in a room. If you're not able to speak, you can just use the chat box to communicate. And you'll be able to see this in your breakout rooms. All right, so I'll see you in 4 minutes. Have fun. Okay. I think we are all returned from breakout rooms. I apologize. I forgot that when I go to a room to help, if someone asks for help, then it makes the screen disappear. And then when the screen disappeared, then many people were asking for help. And so then no one could see the screen. So I apologize for that. For our next activity, it won't be an issue because your images are in the WhatsApp. So I have some questions for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. We're going to analyze it a little bit. So which of the 4 skills, speaking, listening, reading, and writing, which of the 4 skills did you use for this game? Go ahead, Josiah.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, just group one. You're asking the skills that we use. I think there's listening, there's speaking, and of course we were now. I was with where we chose my about the what you can do without traffic computers or doctors. So we said, I mean, we can do that traffic computers because
Uh-huh.
at any point, and doctors, you cannot do that doctors.
Good, so I can see you were listening also. So yeah, I see also in the chat, many people identified speaking and listening. And of course, there's a little bit of reading because you have to read what's on there. So yeah, this is a speaking and listening activity. Good, thank you. My next question is what grammar structures you used to answer. So for example, did you use certain verb tenses or some other kinds of structures? What grammar did you use? And Amali, I think your hand is up for the last question, but if you want to answer this question, go right ahead.
Okay, yeah, hand was up for the last question, but now that the question has come, we have come to the next question. We'll talk about the grammar structures. Of course, we used verb tenses. We were thinking about something that you can do away with. Number 1, number 9. You get yes.
Sorry,
the tense.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Saying the verb tenses are, of course, of mice. We chose mice, traffic, and handshake, and of course, using the because it's something that you are doing. And handshakes, we use the tense because we remember the Corona period, something that's past, so we.
And Molly, I'm only getting kind of every other sentence that you're saying. You're cutting out a bit.
Okay, let me write them down.
Okay, thank you. So I heard some interesting answers from you as well. So it really depends on how you were answering these questions. But depending on how you were answering these, we could create some objectives to go with this lesson. So when I create objectives for lessons, I like to use this STEM, students will be able to. So I can see what students will be able to do. If students play this game that we just played, there are some things that students will be able to do. At a very basic level, they might be able to use but in a sentence to contrast their likes and dislikes. So for example, I think the first one was about corn and mice. So they might say something like, I choose mice, cars and corn are useful, but mice are not. So that would be a very basic way a student could play the game and uses a very basic structure, is using simple present and just using the adverb or the conjunction but in a very basic way. We can go up a little bit higher. So for example, Caro used because to explain her answer about why she chose romance novels. Another example that we can see, I choose mice because they are dirty and annoying, right? So using because is something that students need to be able to do. Oh, interesting. So Also, I'm sure you all were using some higher grammar too, because you are fluent speakers. Molly says verb tenses, past tense, especially number 9, handshakes. We talked about the coronavirus period. How, yeah, handshakes are a thing of the past. Good, thank you. We might get students to use first conditionals to answer these questions. So example, if there are no mice, the world will be better. We can even get students to use the third conditional. If there were no mice, the world would be better. And so depending on the level of our students, we can go for a different kind of structure. And you may have all used different ones in this. These are just some examples. So if I were teaching a lesson about using but, or because, or first conditionals, or third conditionals, for any of those objectives, I could use this game and I could say, okay, we're gonna play this game. You need to make sentences that use one of these, depending on what level my class is and what we were studying. So this also helps us to think about adaptation and extension. Adaptation would be adapting the game to meet different needs. So using these objectives, if I have different level learners in a class, then they can do different things. So maybe I'm using this game in a club, and in my club, I have different grades and different levels. I could say, okay, this is the easy one, use but to explain your answers. Next level is because, and then my very high level students have to use the third conditional. So that might be one way to do it. Or maybe they're all in the same grade, but of course there's still different levels. So I might say that higher level students, they have to have all of their answers perfect or they cannot move forward. But lower level learners, if they make some mistakes in their answer, they can still move forward. So these are some examples of adaptations we can make so that all students can participate. This is something we talked about earlier, that if a game is going to be effective, it needs to not be too hard. So we need to have adaptations that make it easier. It also has to be challenging enough or students will get bored. So we can have adaptations to make the game more difficult. We might also think about extensions. So after the game, what will we do? After the game, does that mean the class is over or are we going to do something else? So an example, after we might follow up with an oral report. So maybe you have to tell me about one of your classmates or share something interesting. Maybe I noticed that all of the groups were arguing about one of the topics. Well, maybe we're going to have a debate then. Or maybe this will be followed up with a writing project that is related. And so these are different ways that we can extend. Oh, good. Fancy, you can join. All right, so your turn. Again, we're going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to change the breakout rooms just a little bit because we're going to have 5 breakout rooms. Once you see your breakout room, you'll see that in the WhatsApp group, there is a game that is assigned to your room. So you'll see room 1 has an image, room 2 has an image. So you're just going to open the one for your room. Don't worry, you'll see all of the other ones later. So just open the game that goes to your room. You can try to play it if you'd like, but mostly what I would like you to do is look at either what kind of grammar does it use or what kind of vocabulary does it require if you are playing the game. You and your team are going to create 1 or 2 suitable objectives that can be accomplished through the game. So students will be able to do what by playing this game? Will they be able to use the present perfect? Will they be able to use, I don't know, food vocabulary in sentences? What will they be able to do? I'd also like you to think if there's anything you can do to adapt the game for different levels, or is there anything that you could do to extend the game so that after you do something else with the game with a clear learning purpose? And then finally, could you use this game in your classroom? So I'm going to give you, I think, 7 minutes in the breakout room so that you have enough time to look thoroughly at the game. And then we come back I'll ask each room to have somebody talk for their room and explain their answers. If you don't have answers to all of the questions, don't worry about it. You will also, you'll be able to see this slide, but if I have to go help somebody, don't worry. Everything, the main image is going to be in the WhatsApp. Go ahead, Josiah.
Hi, the screen has disappeared. As it's not with your face. It's blank. I don't know what's happening.
I cannot hear you. Can you say it again or type it?
I'm saying the screen is blank. Where you are supposed to see your screen. It's blank.
The screen is blank?
Yes,
Okay, here, let me try. Thank you.
I can see now.
Oh, I actually stopped sharing it. Okay. All right, so just to review the rules, everybody's going to, each room will have a different game. You'll see the game that's assigned to you in the WhatsApp. You're going to look at the game together with your group and analyze it to see what kind of grammar or vocabulary does it use. You will create 1 or 2 objectives that students can achieve through playing this game. And then if you can think of a way to adapt or extend the game, that would be great too. If you can't, don't worry about it. And then can you use this game in your classroom? All right, so I have 5 rooms and there is a game for each room. I'll go ahead and open the rooms. And then you'll look in the WhatsApp to see which game is assigned to your room. Resume. All right. I know some rooms may have had some issues, and if you don't have everything, don't worry. So we're going to share just a brief summary of the game, any objectives you thought of, or any adaptations or extensions. And if you didn't get to the objectives, that's fine. You can just let us know like what kind of grammar or language structures you thought you could use. So we're going to start with room 1. Room 1 had this game called About Me. So if I could have someone from room 1 talk about this. Celestine, are you from room 1?
To at least play the game. Some of us named some of the things they're afraid of, the places they would like to visit, like in animals they wouldn't want to be. So able to come up with some objectives, like by the end of the lesson, Alana should be able to identify different types of nouns, like proper nouns. Someday I would want to visit a certain town, name the city. The name of the animal you wouldn't want to be is, someone said a rat, because they live in dirty places. Also, the next objective we looked at is by the end of the lesson, Alana should be able to construct a well-structured sentence, having to consider subject-verb agreement, something like that. Yeah. We weren't able to finish the discussion, so that is all we have.
All right, that's great though. Thank you very much, Celestine. And actually, that was really helpful because I really like this one, but I always think of it as being for a little bit higher level learners because it's using noun clauses. I know how to, I think that, I wonder what. So I always think of that as being for higher level students, but actually your objective made it suitable for lower level students because they just have to identify types of nouns that would fit. So that's actually very clever. Excellent. And yes, leads to sentence structures. Great. All right. And parts of speech would go with that as well. Very good. Excellent. Room 2, you have a game. It's this game. It's in the WhatsApp, I think. Did I feel that I sent it. Yes, it's right here. Room 2. This is your game. Was anybody in room 2 able to talk about or look at this game? Actually, this one is one of my favorite ones. Although it is very specific.
Yes, Mina, I think for room 2, I think there was a bit of confusion because what we thought was that we are going to post it, not what we had posted earlier. So I think that was where, yeah, so we were thinking that you're going to post it. The way you always said that I'm just going to put it, the game. So we.
Oh, gotcha. No, I sent it at the very beginning. I see. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry,
because I
should've-
remember I saw all of them at the very beginning. So I think there was that miscommunication
Gotcha.
on our end. Yeah, so
Oh.
we just ended up getting to know each other. And yeah, you know, it was just a great time talking and yeah, getting to know each other.
Then your time was not wasted.
Yeah, it was not wasted.
Okay. Next time, ask me for help and I will come and help. And then same thing, Feo, you said that you were not assigned any room. Everyone is automatically assigned a room, but sometimes if you have an issue with your connection, then it will not show. But if you tell me, then I can assign you to a new room. I can't put you in a room through Zoom. I can only invite you to a room. And if you don't get the invitation, then I can invite you to a different room, but I can't put you in the room. So if you have.
And actually on my hand as a co-host, see, I've just realized that I'm able to do that. I'm able to put people into the rooms.
Gotcha. Oh, you
on my
are.
end.
Okay.
Yes. I'm able to do that.
Oh.
As a co-host, yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Feo, the problem is you're not in a WhatsApp group. Okay, but after tonight you will be, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be adding all of them.
Okay, great. So this is a really fun game. It's Would You Rather, and you can see here that you have different questions. So for example, this first one, would you rather be a baker, a dentist, or an accountant? And so to answer this, you would say, I would rather be a blah, 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 blah. Why? Because blah, 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 blah. So we see that this is connected to this, this structure, I would rather. Oh, thank you, Margot. Yeah, you can assign them, but you can't put them. But yes. So I have actually played this game with students who could make the structure, but we also had students who their level was very low. So we adapted this to I like. So they had to choose, do you like a baker, a dentist, or an accountant? And they could say, I like dentist because dentist has good salary, something like this. So that would be a possible adaptation of this. And then I think it would be very suitable for like a writing or an oral presentation. All right, room number 3. Oh, I like this one too. Can anyone from room number 3 speak on this? Have you ever? Oh, when? I think it has a very clear target grammar as well. In room 3, we had Lydia, Margot, and Needy. Room 3, going once, twice. So this one seems to be kind of based on present perfect. and simple past together. So we see, for example, in this first one, have you ever swum in a river? If you say no, no, I've never. Okay. Have you ever swum in a river? Yes, I have. Oh, when? Oh, when I was a child, we went to the Galana River and we swam in it, or something like this. So I think it's very suited to that specific structure. Go ahead, Margot. Yes, Isaac.
Group A, we said the first question was there and the vocabulary. We agreed that listening, again, then, okay, remind me the second question, please.
The second one, have you ever watched a baseball game? Oh, the possible objectives.
Okay, for the possible objectives, we say by the person, the learners should be able to know different types of also the learners should also be able to tell us a story, experience of what they did, like if you went for swimming, how, yeah.
I like that. Yes, they should be able to tell a story. I think that would lead to a great extension as well. So then after you have to write a short story about one of these questions that you answered. Oh, I love it. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, so for the extent of the game, we still said we can add, we can use questions, game in the class.
Now I can't hear you.
Lesson, we said that we can use they can also write different new words from the group, from the game.
Oh, that's a great idea for any of these. So while they were doing this, they should keep track of any new words. So that would be a great vocabulary connection.
Yeah, then after that, they do a vocabulary tree and put all the new words.
That's
for
awesome.
the class corner. Yeah.
Thank you, Margot. That's a new idea for me. I love it. All right. Room 4, I don't know if you were able to talk. There was a lot of background noise in there. Yes, the word building aspect. Yes, Isaac. Is anyone in room 4 able to talk on this one? I know there were some issues. So this one is what someone does. And we could do this for at a very basic level, just using simple present, although we have something in the chat. Okay. So what does someone do? Go ahead, Benedict.
One or two, including Collins, who was in my group. So what someone does, are you able to get me?
I'm getting like every other word. It's cutting out a lot.
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Just continue.
Okay, thank you. So what someone does, I think it on the grammar part, I think it focuses on tenses. You get there is does that person in love have a little competition among themselves, maybe during games time or during class time, whatever free time they have, or maybe over the weekends. Thank you.
Thank you. I lost the middle part. I don't know if, could other people hear everything Benedict was saying? Is it just me? I think I don't have a very good connection. I heard in the beginning you were talking about the focus on verb tenses. I think that's very appropriate. That it certainly is looking at simple present. For example, what does someone do on a tropical island? I don't know, maybe they drink out of coconuts, go swimming, something like this. We could make this harder using if clauses as well. If someone is on a tropical island, they can blah, 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 blah. Good. And then I think you had an interesting extension, which I didn't catch, but hopefully others did. Last one, room 5. Do we have anyone from room 5 who can speak on this one? Which one is different? Why? Oops. Ah, okay, so you could hear him. Ah. Thank you very much, Emily. Yes, excellent. Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Benedict. Good. Anyone from room 5? Which one is different? What did we have in room 5? So we have Caroline, Lillian, and Rabina.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead, Rabina.
I think Rabina's hand is up.
Rabina, your hand is up. Go ahead.
5, we realized that from the game the learner can be able to utilize the skills of speaking, listening, and reading. And then they were meant to choose the odd one out. For example, we looked at the game, we had the ocean, lake, I think it was also a river, and rain. And then we decided to choose the rain, and we said all the others are water bodies, but this one is a kind of a condensed what these are water that simply just falls from above in form of droplets. That is what we managed to say, unless somebody has something else.
I like that. So you had some really good vocabulary in there. Excellent.
Yeah, hello, Mina.
Yeah, go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, we looked at the above. Rain was a odd one out. Are large water bodies, or they are water bodies. Question related maybe to the swam in the lake. Have you ever seen an ocean kind of to juggle the brains? But to choose odd one now, you see, is water eventually. The rain extension, but the rain was odd one out because now, but eventually when they reach on the surface of the earth, large water body per se. But we looked at the rain and we said this one is odd one out. So students, so that they are able to differentiate the rain and the water body of the water. And there was also a bit of of now make as an objective by the end. That's how we were looking at it as a brain teaser to the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. I didn't hear the end because my internet kicked me out of the meeting. But I did hear earlier you talking about differentiation. And I think that's an important skill too. So we see that this one is related to classification and differentiation, which are really great critical thinking skills, which is also something that I think you mentioned earlier. In the interest of time, I'm going to just move forward. Nice job with those. I know there are some technical issues, but hopefully you like these games. And if you did, they're available at this website. As I mentioned, there's 13 different games, and I showed you them earlier. The other nice thing is that they also have blank templates. And so, Amali, I know your students are very good at making games. If they're not quite as creative or either way, your students can make their own games like this. So whatever topic you're using, they can create their own, either you as a teacher, for example, if you had some target grammar or vocab, you could make it, or you can have your students make it. If you have no dice, they also have these dice templates. You print it, you cut it out, and then they can, they have their very own dice. So it's a really nice resource. It's completely free. As long as you are able to print, then these are available to you. And I have had a lot of fun with these. Thank you very much. Next week, we'll be looking at teaching grammar. This was another suggestion from the poll we did about a month ago. Go ahead, Caroline.
I would like to ask a question. You said earlier when you're starting on the board game for about why we want those things, and which things would you rather have and why? That's the board game.
Yes. Yeah, they're all in the
now.
website.
Yes. Now you said something about the embassy. When we go to the embassy, who is to go to the embassy and get the board game?
Yeah, so if you're ever lucky enough to be doing something with LPAC and the embassy is there, you can ask them about these. They have them and they can send you, it's a whole booklet. It comes with 13 of these big ones. It comes with an instruction booklet. The instruction booklet's also online, but it gives different suggestions about how to use the game. It has clear instructions as well. So if you run into them, ask them about the Activate games.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In addition, also, we have had several members do mini presentations, and we haven't had one in a while, but it's a great way to sharpen your presentation skills and also share with the group. So feel free to send a message to Austin or myself. If there's something, a topic, an activity or strategy that you would like to share with our group, it can be as short as 10 or 15 minutes. If you think that you can go longer, you're welcome to do that too. Just let me know. But we've had some great presentations. Go ahead, Josiah.
Yeah, so about the game, about the presentation, I think it was very informative. Also, I think the use of games, a teacher should be very specific to use only few games that may not, okay, you have the steps that are limit within the lesson so that he or she may not run out of time. Games, if well planned, they enhance learning. They enhance, the students will be expressing themselves. If you ask them questions and answering, there's the skill of listening. They also are supposed to write down. So even you can even check writing. So it's a very good approach. The kind of the steps involved should be well structured, but somebody may not run out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you make some really good points. So we definitely want to be intentional with these. We want to definitely make sure that winning doesn't become the ultimate goal. Thanks, Fancy. Glad to have you here. Well, you don't usually have this many technological problems. Usually I have better internet than I currently do. I'm going to run because, as I said, I'm actually at a conference and there are others waiting for me. I look forward to seeing you all next week and have a good week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Kwaheri.
Kwaheri.
Bye, everyone.